Hello lovelies, welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name's Freedom, thank you for joining me. Today's episode is about when will the narcissist leave you, or what makes the narcissist leave you. Now, this video has been inspired by one of my private clients who in her infinite wisdom decided to use all of the information that she had about narcissists to essentially try and play the narcissist. So what I mean by that is she really wanted to be with the narcissist, despite the fact that he'd triangulated her, he had, discarded her and gone off with another woman. So she did everything. So using the information that she had gained from myself and other channels and other sources of information about narcissists, she used that information to try and be his, ideal woman, essentially. So she, dressed the way he liked, acted the way he liked. She gave him the sex that he liked. She didn't hassle him. She didn't demand anything of him. She didn't call him out on any of his bad behavior. She let it all go. She was being what, she imagined is, primary, grade A supply. But the thing is, did it go to plan? No, it didn't go to plan. So let's just talk about this. Let's talk about, what actually makes the narcissist leave you. And, for those of you who are still trying to keep them happy, just know that essentially it really doesn't matter what you do, how you play it, what you say, how you act, if you call them out on things, if you don't call them out on things, if you let everything slide, if you give them everything they ever want. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the outcomes are always going to be the same, because the one key thing you need to remember is narcissists are opportunists. So if the opportunity arrives for them to replace you, right, then they will take that opportunity. So there's a few things that will kind of trigger a narcissist into, looking for new supply. But essentially, at the end of the day, like I said, they're just chronically bored. They're always looking for something that's going to fix the way they feel. They're looking for something that's going to fill them, essentially. That emptiness that they feel inside themselves. So, and each new thing that they find, it's like when they come across new supply, they get so excited and so high about the whole thing. And then after time, they realize that, I still actually feel the same. This emptiness is still here. This new thing isn't exactly what I thought it was. Hey, maybe it's not even as good as what I had before. And they become, they're just miserable. They're miserable people. So they then will be looking for other sources of supply. But as I said, whether or not they actually have the opportunity to get someone into a position of, replacing you as the primary source of supply is, that's another thing altogether. All right, so there's a couple of the things that will trigger the narcissist to leave you. So when you figure out who they are, so that's a really important thing, because, a lot of what's going on with the narcissist is a mask, an illusion, a false construct, a false facade. They pretend to be someone that they're not. They make up a character. So like an actor playing a role, they are literally morphing their personality, their characteristics into a version of self that is compatible with you, which is why they change with all their different supply sources. So when they're around the new supply, totally different to the way they are with you. When they're around their secondary sources of supply or other people in the narc harem, same thing, personality changes. So once you realize that you're dealing with a narcissist, or once you start kind of calling them out on their behavior, this signals to the narcissist that you're catching on, and they know that it's only a matter of time. So that once you start catching on, there's a certain, progression of what will actually take place. So this has triggered them to then realize that in X amount of time, you'll be leaving, or there'll be, things will be changing. And so they in turn need to source new supply. So there's that. There's also, they will also leave you, or, attempt to leave you when you start needing equality in the relationship. So just say something's happened where you actually need them to step up to the plate, to be equal, to treat you with respect and to be fair. So for example, you get sick. That's usually one thing that will get a narcissist to leave you pretty quick. If you're sick, if there's something that's going on, there's some kind of crisis that's going on in your home or within you, the narcissist will start looking elsewhere because they don't like, not being the center of attention. They don't like you asking for them to do things, or, for them to have to, live up to a certain standard. They don't like that. Sure, they're happy to act a certain way if they're going to get kind of kudos and praise and people watching them and saying, oh, what a good bloke he is. But when that's not happening, when people aren't actually paying attention and the real slog of looking after a sick person, occurs, or, like I said, some kind of crisis where there's no audience, there's no one kind of cheering them on and rewarding and, no fuel for them, that in itself makes the narcissist, like I said, need to source new supply. All right. Also, if another person, so if you have a child or another family member gets sick, or, there's something that they need, that family member needs you, the narcissist gets hugely butt injured over anyone else being the center of your attention. And they actually get jealous. So they get jealous of children, even newborn babies, even though, sure, like I said, once again, they proudly show them off and strut around the neighborhood and get all the oohs and ahs from the, the ladies down the shop or whatever. But the reality is, when it comes to the fact of you looking after another person that is not them, the narcissist gets jealous. They don't like that. It makes them feel this emptiness, this emptiness that they're trying to avoid, right? So that in itself is another trigger. And as I said, it's, there can be a lot of things like that. It's the normal things that bring, that happen in life that bring other couples together stronger. It's the whole thing, if it doesn't break you, it makes you stronger as a couple. Well, narcissists often don't, they often don't survive those kind of situations, essentially, because they are, like I said, they are all about them, their needs, their wants, them. And if it's not about them, then they get annoyed and they start sourcing new supply. Whether or not that supply is good enough to replace you, like I said, that really depends on essentially fate and opportunity. But if the narcissist does have the opportunity and they're very opportunistic, they will take advantage of that. So getting back to my friend who, like I said, did everything she could to be his ideal woman, to not trigger him, to not do anything, not cause any narcissistic injury. Like, she did her very best to make him happy. And he still did the exact same thing to her that he did the time before. The exact same thing. So remember that it's not about you. It's not about you, what you do. It's about the narcissist. It's about them, their patterns of behavior, their personality disorder. It's essentially their personality is disordered. They don't do things or do relationships or do life the way us non-disordered folk do, right? So it's always going to be the same, no matter how you try and play it. The best thing that you can do is just get your head around that and realize that there's no way to win with a narcissist. There's never a happy ending with a narcissist. There may be a temporary one, and look, sure, someone's going to get holding the hot potato at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? That's a game that kids play, hot potato, and you pass it on, and then the music stops, and whoever's holding the hot potato, is the winner, whatever. So sure, we're all aging, and someone will be the winner, holding the hot potato, the narcissist, at the end, as they get old and die. Does that mean, that they won? Does it mean that they were happy? No, we know that. Like, we know that a relationship with a narcissist is never going to be satisfying. It's always going to be that same cycle, of, putting on a pedestal and knocking you off, and you're always going to be, like I said, trying to figure them out, trying to work out their behavior, trying to figure out what you've done wrong. Like, it's just not a life for anyone. It really, really isn't. All right, darlings, I think that's about it, And for my sweet, sweet girl who has inspired this video, she has more worth than she realizes. And I wish her all the very best with any crazy decisions that she makes one way or the other. All right, darlings, thanks for listening. Bye.